What the country saw last night was not a State of the Union. It was Trump's state of delusion. For nearly 2 hours, the president inflated his ego, rewrote reality, and offered zero solutions to the problems American families are struggling with every night. I'll bet there were just as many people last night discussing how to pay the bills as there were watching the State of the Union. President's in a bubble. He doesn't have a clue about what the average American people are going through. He just didn't ignore the affordability crisis. He mocked it. Can you imagine sitting down at the table and say, we can't meet our electric bill, what's going to happen? And you hear the President of the United States is mocking your inability to pay because prices have gone up. While President Trump stood up there congratulating himself, Americans were confronting the reality. Ground beef up 11%, coffee up 41%, rents up, health care costs up, electricity up. Families are spending this year over $1,700 more because of Trump's tariff tax. And he's gloating about it. He's gloating about it. Families don't need a 2-hour speech. They need relief at the checkout counter, especially a speech that hardly mentioned any solutions for the American people. You know, look, Trump spent a lot of time praising himself. He patted himself on the back so often that I thought he might fall down. But the American people didn't want hype. They didn't want the kind of stuff he did. And he lied. He just lies. He makes it up. He said we've gained manufacturing jobs. We've lost over 100,000 manufacturing jobs since he became president. He said job creation is on the rise. No, it's at the lowest point in 20 years outside of a recession. I think it was 2003 that job creation on a percentage basis was as low. And then, incredibly, Trump put J.D. Vance in charge of investigating corruption. Well, in one way, he's a good choice because if he wants to investigate corruption, he doesn't need a task force. He doesn't even need a car. All he has to do is walk down the hall and start investigating his boss, where there's huge amounts of corruption. He can start with the billionaires bankrolling Trump's vanity projects. He can look at corrupt pardons that the president gave. He can look at the luxury jet gifted from the Middle East. And most of all, glaring of all, he can ask the president why the Epstein files, all of them, haven't been released. Last night was all hype and no help. If you're a family hoping to hear how your costs would go down, you got nothing. If you're a worker hoping to hear how your job would be protected, you got nothing. If you're a voter hoping for accountability, you got deflection. Last night's speech was an utter failure for Trump. All hype, all fluff, not what the American people who are having trouble paying for beef and so many other things wanted. And just lastly, the contrast between Donald Trump and Governor Spanberger and Senator Padilla, who gave a great speech as well. They talked about lowering costs. They talked about protecting rights. They talked about restoring integrity. Compare Trump's speech to their speech, and Americans will know why it's Democrats fighting for them, and it's easy to figure out why people prefer Democrats to Republicans when it comes to all of the polling data we have seen.
Subscribe to One India and never miss an update. Download the One India app now.